Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting episode of Wind Down with Kev. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to watch us on live stream, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or if you're listening to this later, thank you for watching it, listening to or on podcast platforms everywhere. Thank you so much. Special thanks to those of you who have already subscribed and clicked on the notifications button. If you haven't done it already, please click on the link below, subscribe, notifications. We need you to keep great content like this going. Also, before I begin, big thanks to my sponsors, Canopy Connect and Carol Media. Please reach out to them for all things digital in the insurance world. With that being said, super excited today to bring you a wonderful guest. We travel to the great state of Indiana today. We're on our journey podcasting with 50 agents from 50 different states. Today we are in Indiana, and this agent today, he's won the Agent Achievement Award, Leaders Forum, Inner Circle Elite, National Summit, Pinnacle Elite, all around awesome guy, and he gives back to his community like no other. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ben Butcher, who I'm very happy to call my friend. Ben, welcome.
Thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
it's very kind of you. Very, very nice to have this. And this is awesome. I'm glad glad you invited me. I'm glad you're going coast to coast, and I'm excited to delve in and hopefully say some things of value.
No, you are definitely going to add value. You have stories to tell. And I'm doing this because I think the story of the local insurance agent is so awesome, but it's in pockets. We tell it one state at a time. So, Ben, I mentioned to the people you're from the great state of Indiana, but I don't want to start our conversation off all Billy business and dive into insurance. I want to invite you to my home state. You spent some time here in New York. Many people around the country have dreams of coming to New York and doing the whole Broadway, off Broadway thing, chasing their dreams in New York. You've been there, done that. Talk about it. Tell the people about your
Sure.
backstory before insurance.
Absolutely. So I did spend 10 years living in New York City, moved there right after college to perform, to want to sing, dance, act, and all that. And so when all my friends were going there, and so it's like, okay, let's do New York. And it was a great place for my 20s. But what I found, it was very competitive. And although I did get to do a tour and a play and some musical and even some hand modeling, it wasn't my passion. And also, I wasn't as talented as I thought I was, which is fine. But more importantly, doing something you love is not always what you think it is. So for 10 years, I was doing promo jobs, restaurant work, and I found out it wasn't exactly what I loved. But when I was doing it, I loved to perform. And I think I just didn't get enough attention as a child. I don't know. But there's a lot of people go to New York and LA who didn't get enough attention. But I did enjoy it. I love to sing. I love to dance. And I realized that although I still love to do those things, it wasn't my passion. My passion became more towards business.
Nice.
And I had turned 30, and I saw a lot of other friends going off to do other things, and I was looking for something more substantial. And I met a girl, my girlfriend, who at the time, whose parents were in business, and they're like, "Do you want to come work in this business?" And I was like, "Okay, this is different." And I was like, "Let's try this out." And so we joined the family business. And even though that relationship didn't work out, my brain started working. Okay, we're going to get rid of Broadway. We're going to let it go. It was a great time, great thing to do, but I'm going to focus on business now, things I'm passionate about. And that started the wheels turning into what became insurance eventually. It was the small family business was a McDonald's franchise. So I went from musical theater to McDonald's
Wow.
to and then to Allstate after that, all through just trying to figure out how would I fit in business, and how would I get into something I have no idea about. And what I found was the thing I'm the best at is being resourceful and asking people, how do you do this? I saw this quote that was like, the fastest way to get where you want to go is to find someone who's already there and ask for directions. And now I live by it.
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, if I was going to get into
Yes.
business with McDonald's, I asked tons of people who's how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you manage people? I didn't know how to manage people. I was a terrible manager when I started. I was a very disciplinarian, and it wasn't it wasn't good at it. So I asked people for help, and then I got into insurance, and I started meeting with people and calling them for help and hiring coaches, talking with mentors. And as to this day, if there's a process or program I don't understand, I will call for that. I'll buy back my time, which a lot of people are talking about this buy back your
It's
time book. I
yes.
have not read it, but hiring coaches, well, you know, you're a coach, and hiring programs is buying back your time. For
Oh,
example, you know, Lead Manager came out a few years ago, and Ryan Chea was on the front end of learning and sharing stuff, and he had a program. And I was like, why am I going to spend 6 months figuring this program? Ryan
no.
has a great handle of this. I got into his program and like moving things along. So
You went right away. So you gave me a lot of juice in the opening statement, and I got to draw that connectivity. I knew the bridge from Broadway to Allstate, but I didn't know about the pit stop at McDonald's. From the outside looking in, I've always thought that the McDonald's franchise, McDonald's University, was the best training business in the world. I recently watched the wonderful movie on Netflix about the backstory of it.
oh yeah.
So before we get to insurance, talk about the importance of process work that you learned at McDonald's and how that helps you now as an Allstate insurance agent.
Absolutely. It's funny, I have a plaque on my wall at home. It has Allstate University from training, but right next to it is Hamburger University, which is both courses is a week-long course you do in Chicago for those programs. But yes, the processes are everything, documented and followed. So they have something at McDonald's called Back to Basics, and it's every single process in the whole agency is documented. There's a learning program, and there's a way to keep track of it all. And it's like that's fascinating because they've been around for so many years.
Yes.
They know how do we make this successful restaurant just as successful as this restaurant and that restaurant by following things to a T. Just like you see in the founder of the movie, he's like that looks good. Make sure you do that different. And it was brilliant. So we actually have when we have changes here at our Allstate agency, we label things back to basics. What is the core process? What is the foundation? Why do we do things this way, and we challenge it all the time, like, is this the best way? And then the point is to get everyone on the same page and doing the same process, because if you have four different ways to do something, honestly, it's very confusing for training the staff.
Yeah.
It's very they don't know which way to do. And then if four different ways of doing a sale, if someone's told something on a new customer, and then the customer service people are talking to them, and the customer says a different thing, and that, well, they told me this, it makes it a headache for the service team. So we want something consistent, and McDonald's has a great way of doing that, of making sure you learn the right way to do things, because they've tried and tested it. They have a test kitchen in Chicago that where they test the new food, but they also have so much spent into hiring and training. Like it really takes the work out of you as a business owner trying to find something new. No, no, this is already how we do
It's
things, and we
it's
tried them
tested.
out.
It's
Proven
tested,
process.
it's tried and true. What I loved in the movie The Founder was a couple of things. First, how he goes to the first McDonald's, the real first McDonald's. He observes how he can't believe how fast he gets his food. But fast forward to when he originally franchises it, everybody's doing their own thing. So you in Indiana, you're sticking to the burgers and fries. Someone in
Right.
South Carolina is selling a little soul food. They thought it would be a good idea to offer soul food, and someone in another place thought, that arroz con pollo would go over really well here, and they were all doing it different. So they've also failed their way forward. They got rid of all that. They cleaned it up. They streamlined it, and they're, the fast, efficient business we know today. So let me ask you, my opening insurance question is, what do you love about being an Allstate agent?
What do I love about being an Allstate agent is really the
Yes.
uniqueness of problem solving, the uniqueness of running a business, learning about business, and and becoming a better leader every day. So when I talk about being a leader, I talk about not being a boss, because anybody can be a boss and anybody can be a leader in title, or linos, as I call them, leader in name only. But a
Hmm.
true leader is somebody who puts people first, creates a good positive culture, mentors well. There's a funny thing I heard recently about what an alpha male is, and it's been taken the wrong way. You think of an alpha male as somebody who's kind of a jerk, somebody who is like loves the attention. Don't mind you, I do love the attention, but the alpha male is incorrect in their thought process. The alpha male is not the leader of the wolf pack. The alpha male is the back of the wolf pack to make sure everyone's taken
Yes.
care of. They're, as Simon
Yes.
Sinek says, leaders eat last, and putting the people in
Listening
front of
to it
you.
now.
Are you? It's a great book.
Yes.
But that of following those people, reading those books, learning from people like you is the best part about being an Allstate agent. And truly, it's not just about Allstate or agency, but of learning how to run business and learning how to build a business is the best part. So, for example, um, great companies, great leaders don't make great companies. Leaders help people make great companies. So I invest all my time into the
I love
people
it.
to build things, and that's fun. And learning, you're always growing. And people, my staff make fun of me all the time for going to conferences. I mean, lovingly, like doing this, networking here. But I'm always fascinated by the progress of the direction business goes, and changes. I mean, changes all the time with leads, with marketing, with hiring, with how the insurance industry is run in general. I could spend all day
Right.
just trying to figure it out on my own, but if I go to people that are in the know, then I can learn from them and I can help them, because there's somebody there that was where I was 5 years ago, I was looking for help. That's fun too. I mean, you've got to get immense pleasure out of coaching people, watching people grow and progress. Am I correct?
No, it's the best thing. It's the thing I'm the most passionate about now. But speaking of people and your investment in people, part of my crack research staff, which is me, looking up an agent's website before I do this. Let's talk about your people, your website. You have pictures of all your people, wonderful backstory. So let's talk about your team and what you love about the people that work in your agency.
Oh my gosh, where do I start? Well, first of all, proud of them all. It's a lot harder to work for us than it used to be.
Mhm.
I'll say that, because when we first started, we'd hire anybody that we could, get them licensed, get going. Now that we have grown as large as we have, we can be picky in a way that we align ourselves with core values that say, hey, this is who we're looking for. This is someone who is going to be a good fit with our agency, and we use it for hiring and firing. So somebody can't come into work with us and have a toxic attitude, or be toxic, or be gossipy, or be negative. Like, we tell them coming in, these are our core values, and we do an assessment with ideal traits to essentially see how their personality is. So once they come in, they already have done a successful thing. They're working to get in. Then to keep them here, we continue to follow the core values. And so first of all, they're already doing great there. The second of all, to stay with us, they have to keep the core values and coach each other. And I love that they do that. They mentor each other. They help each other with little different problems. They help each other with personal issues too that comes up. And honestly, it makes running a company so much easier, knowing the people there are not just there for you, but for themselves and for each other person. So, somebody has been, doesn't mean you're never negative or bad attitude, but somebody was really going through a tough time a couple months ago, and somebody else called them outside of work. They're like, hey, I'm not sure what's going on, but you need to take care of this coworker, because she's, in the third person, like the negative person is like, you need to take care
Right.
of her. She's a good person. And that stuff just warms my heart, that they
It
care about each
does.
other, and they're there to help each other out. So it's like a family. The word gets thrown around a lot, but like, they take care of each other. They listen to each other. They all want each other to be successful. So I love them. They're great.
You describe an atmosphere that anybody would love to work in. So, talk to me about two things. First, Invite me to your city. Anyone that's listening that hasn't been in the Fort Wayne area where your agency is at, talk to me about what's unique about it. If you and I were doing this in person in Fort Wayne, what restaurant would we meet at? What's it like there, born and raised? Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. Fort Wayne, Indiana. If we were having lunch right now or doing a podcast, we'd probably go to Casa Grande, which is the best
Okay.
Mexican restaurant in town. It's about a quarter of a
I'm
million
in.
people. It's a large, big city. It's one of the cities that's growing every year. A lot of people are coming
What
to
we
it. It's a big, small town. It's people that are, it is a quarter of a million people, but everybody knows each other still. Um, there's tons of things to do, lots of arts, lots of community, and I love it. I moved here 7, 8 years ago before the business because my wife was living here. We met online. I'm originally Ohio. Ohio
nice.
has its place. A lot of great things about Ohio, but I do love Indiana. The only thing I miss about Ohio, honestly, was the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're still my number one team, and they always will be. But Fort Wayne has been beautiful. We love going to go see shows, and it's got a little bit of something for everybody.
I love it. Shout out to the Buckeyes. They're probably one of the best teams across all lines in every sports. They're always there. I have a few young men I know one young man that played there, another one who just finished playing basketball there a few years ago. So you're not just an agent in Fort Wayne and that area and business only. You're heavily involved in the community. You have Paul's Place, First Fridays. You're a board member with Stellhorn Professional Village. Talk to me about one of the most important passion projects you have in the community right now.
Uh, just probably my church. We found a church a few years back that I was invited to by my cousin in town. We were living 35 minutes away at the time. We've since moved much closer to this church, and it's just enveloped our lives in a good way. That we've joined
Mhm.
like a Bible study group, and it's great to be especially me, still not really been here the longest time. A lot of people are Fort Wayne natives or Indiana natives, so I'm still learning the community. Having those people there, and just having some close connections. That's what I'm most passionate about. We do some other charity work, but having a small group inside a church or a synagogue, something that allows you to connect, especially when churches are growing bigger and bigger these days. You'll find a lot of mega churches that have fantastic preachers and a music thing, but what a lot of people are drawn or not connecting with is the small group. So what a lot of these churches are doing, they're like small group for this for singles, for couples with children, for retirees, for older men, older women. And it's a way that, my mom does one with her church, and I think they're really into pickleball. So they're like, hey, this is the pickleball group, you know?
It's the draw. It's what brings you back, and nothing wrong at all saying that the church and the Bible study is the most passionate. What draws us is what draws us. What keeps
Yeah.
us is what keeps us. And you talked about the book "Leaders Eat Last." One of the things they said is that they go back to the beginning of civilization forward. They talk about communities like our max capacity, regardless of how many friends we have on social media. Intellectually, we have the capacity to be a part of communities that max out at about 150 that you can really say, Ben's a part of my community. What are your thoughts on that about having, manageable size of community so we really feel that human connectivity that we all need?
Mm, it's deep, Kevin. Um,
Sorry, you brought me there by mentioning the book. And I'm sure we have multiple circles. Like you and I, one of our
yeah.
bonds, we met at a networking event. I don't know if it was CWC or another networking event, but we met. We had a hallway conversation, and we're fast forward to today. We're still friends. So in the Allstate agent world, we're friends by way of that bond that connects us through networking, our passion for learning from and sharing with our fellow agents. And since then, we formed some other groups. So while you think about that deep question, let me go to one of our connections. You and I are connected digitally. I have a passion for all things digital and all things AI, as you do. What are some of the ways we haven't talked in a couple of months? What are some of the ways that you're integrating all things digital or all things AI into your agency now?
Oh man, that's another good one. First of all, I love AI and I love ChatGPT. But let's pause on that. I do have an answer on that community, which is fantastic. So Jim Rohn says you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yes.
So my
Yes.
goal is to find who are the best 5, and it's really about, for me, on I do have the friends group and then I have the people group. For example, I knew that for me to be successful, I wanted to be in the know and connected to, in some ways, with some of the most successful people and some of the most caring people.
Yes.
So over the last 5 years, I have done coaching or a training program with over 30 different people. I think we met through CWC. I have done obviously all the trainings through CWC. I did one-on-one coaching with Allison Donor, Craig Wiggins, obviously. I did it. I did a course with Bo and Austin. I've also done training with RPOA, uh, Jeremy Olson. I've done it with. I currently do it with David Williams, who
Yes.
is the owner of Ricochet and Team Hired and Jarvie.
Yes.
Andrew Filer is a current coach of mine. I meet with him once a month out of Georgia. And Chris Burke, who's a former Allstate agent, he also runs the Meg Agency Conference. So he and I talk about business and is a great mentor in that way. But my point is, it's also about buying back your time. Like, I want to talk with people that are in the know, but I actually have becoming, friendly with these coaches and these mentors that to a point where it's like, hey, need help with this or I need help with that. But finding that group, finding that connection is so key. Same thing with PAG. So there's this Positive Allstate Agent group, which is about 250 agents, Allstate agents that help each other out. Very caring. I know you're in that group. We do a mastermind with our market. We meet for lunch once a quarter. Having that, someone you could bounce ideas off of, that's not corporate speak and not, too hoity-toity speak, but it's like, hey, can you talk to me as a person? What would you do here? Like, at the end of the day, like,
Yes.
the humanistic element is probably the most important. And if you can sit back and find somebody that you feel comfortable with and connecting with, they'll help. There's no ulterior motive, and there's no, I don't want something from you, like genuine. That's super important, especially as they say in the business world, it's very lonely as a business owner. You need that human element. You need those people.
Yes.
So if you don't have them, it's okay to ask for people. Will you be my mentor? Will you be my coach? It doesn't even
Yes.
have to cost anything. One thing that helped me out with business a long time ago is a free website called score.org. It's a bunch of retired
Yes.
business owners offering free coaching, free help, free mentorships. So I don't know how that was my my little
That's
tidbit
a
on
no,
it.
that's a great answer. So I'm a believer of SCORE, so I'm going to plug it. Anyone that wants to Google it, Chat GPT it. SCORE is an acronym for Service Corps of Retired Executives. People that have been at the top, but they're retired. They want to give back. They want to help up and coming business owners. Like, Ben, I love you have a common theme that's running through. Something I've shared on social media before is people may perceive you from the outside that you're running a business and that you have it all under control. But truthfully, my true story, and I think it's your story as well, I spend all day, every day asking for help. How do you respond to that?
Me too. I love it. I do. I ask for help all day, every day, and now I ask more on my team than anything for help. Um,
Yes.
First of all, asking your team for help, it shows you are vulnerable. It
Mhm.
shows that you truly want their opinion, and it shows that you're okay with not knowing the answers. They
Yes.
probably already know the answers. Well, a lot of people that fail with business is too much control and delegation, and
Yeah.
they're afraid that the person you delegate to will do it wrong. But I got this from Greg Gray once said, if somebody can do 70% as good as you, let them do it. Let them learn it. Let them fail. Let
Yes.
them figure it out on their own. And the power of delegation and trusting people has probably been huge for us.
Yes.
Um, you know, uh, if we were, here's the problem we have: so many agents stress out, and there's so much anxiety because they've got 75 problems, and they think their job is to figure out all 75 of them. But it's not.
No.
Find
No.
people that can, and even if they don't do it just like you wanted to do it, guess what? Do you want to be successful and grow, or do you want to do everything done your way? Because you can't have
Yes.
both. You
It's
gotta,
so
yes. And that kind of ties to AI and ChatGPT, the new Google. Like, might I say that in ChatGPT has changed how we do business. We do that. I do that all the time for questions on stuff. And now the staff, especially my leaders, are learning to that too. I was like, can we get ChatGPT on all of our computers? Like, yeah. So they start using it. Now they're like, oh my gosh, this is what I did. I just looked this up and it gave me the answer. And it's taken the time they would have had to ask each other or ask me, like, hey, just at least give me a guideline with being a problem solver. Like the best
Yes.
part about successful people is how many problems they can solve. So they can problem solve by doing a ChatGPT thread or finding out an answer that way, or Facebook. This may sound silly, but we get a lot of our good ideas from Facebook groups, people that have already figured out issues months ago that we're trying to figure out, different groups. There's the Transform Your Agency, there's the CWC Coaching, there's the RPOA, there's PAG, there's the AS. There's so many different Facebook things that we're in the process now. I'm like, guys, we need to either, I want you to these Facebook groups with your personal, or we'll do a business Facebook, because all you're going to do with this problem, you come to me, I'm going to look at if somebody else has already figured out on Facebook. If you can get in to these managers and agent groups, you can save me time, because I'm just going to look for somebody who's already solved it anyway. So
Be
ChatGPT,
re I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, just training other people to be, think about my process, think about the process that works as being resourceful and using AI and ChatGPT and ways to streamline things, really buy back your time. I mean, ChatGPT is a free resource. I think we pay $20 for like a little higher thing, but technology is so fast, and there's no reason why anybody can't figure something out with a little, search in AI. I love it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Man, Ben, you hit me so many good answers. I never know where to go next, but that's the best part of the conversation is the realness of it,
Yes.
and that it's all off the cup. So let me come back to Fort Wayne. What are some of the one of the things that makes the local agent unique all around the country is the different natural disasters that we face. Indiana, I've driven through it many times. Been to Indianapolis, seen a couple of games there. Um, Flat, you don't have the mountain risk that we have in some other areas. But I would guess that the biggest natural disaster that you have to prepare your customers for, would it be tornadoes or would I be wrong?
Not tornadoes, maybe on the southern part of Indiana, but mostly it's just your common storms, your ice storms.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, Indiana is basic. It's the basic. It's corn. We have corn. No, it's a beautiful state, but we don't have the fires of California. We're not dealing with the hurricanes of Florida and the tornadoes of Texas, Oklahoma. We don't have those major things, but we do have a lot of just your traditional storms. And I think the important part with helping out customers is the communication. Here's what's going to happen. And the part about being local versus a call center
Yes.
is that they're talking to the same person or the same four people we have in customer service each and every time. And they'll say, here, okay, here's what you do. You can do this, we'll do this, and then here's what you can expect. Because so many people have trouble with claims or retention or angry customers because they don't set the expectation right.
Yes.
Here's what we're going to do today. File the claim here. This is what you could expect. This is what your job is. I want you to get this estimate or do this person. This claimed person is going to contact you for this. And then in 2 or 3 days, this will happen. In a week, you can expect this. In 2 weeks, you can expect this. If we don't have this by 2 weeks, we're going to change it and I'm going to help you do this. So even beyond a day or two longer than expectations. So if they're surprised by the earliness of things getting done, they're happy versus surprised by this taking too long. So laying down those expectations is key, and making sure that our claims department, whoever, nobody's dropping the ball. So yes, we work with Allstate. We have some brokered stuff. No matter what happens outside of our agency, we take ownership that it's our job to make sure that, because they trust us, not necessarily the claims department at Allstate or Advantage, they trust us with their business. So we are the intermediary. We are the link that they can go to, one-stop shop that makes them stay and makes them appreciate how getting through this, their roof coming off or something with their siding or their car, like, just tell me what I could expect. And that's what they want. And that's what we try to give them.
I love it. Setting clear expectations, everything. Are you really transparent? 6:30 this morning before I start my day, before the gym, before podcasting this morning, I got an email from a customer with a claim and he wanted some directions, Manhattan, back to your old town, some water issues. And I started answering him. And then it smacked me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, Kevin, why are you thinking? Why don't you have the expectations template? Why isn't this already documented? So when I'm done here today, I've got some cleanup work to do exactly what you said. So you've described your team a couple of times. Someone that's listening to this podcast in Indiana is going to want to work for your agency. So talk to me about the process of getting a license to be able to sell insurance in Indiana. Talk about the process. What are some of the steps?
Absolutely. First of all, we need to make sure they have a license. It's not like your real estate license. It's not like your Series 6 or the financials one. It's a very simple personal lines insurance license. So there's a lot of people think of P&C as the main license, property and casualty. There's a different, smaller, simpler license called personal lines, which does not include commercial insurance. And that's okay because we don't write much commercial insurance. So we will say, hey, we send them to ExamFX, and it's a week course which we'll pay for. They'll take it. They'll take the exam virtually right after that, and then they will start training with us right after that. But it's much simpler licensing than a lot of others. But you first have to realize if you're this is an industry you want to get into, and if that's an industry, great. There's thousands of agencies. Why do you want to work for Bucher or Allstate versus a State Farm versus Progressive or Geico? So hopefully through our social media and through our videos and through our Google reviews and through the interview process, they'll realize this is the place to go. So they already know they want to come here. They know this the first week you're getting your license. The second week we're going to do training and role play and learn on the quotes and Allstate University, all the things. There's a step by step, and somebody there with you every step of the way. So we have 3 different managers. We've got a service manager, we have a sales manager, and then we have an integrator who's like an operations manager, which ties to our EOS management, entrepreneurial operating system. Have you heard of this? You know what I'm talking about, Kevin?
Of course, of course.
EOS. It's a structural way to run the business. So having someone to answer questions all along the way, not leaving someone out in the dust, especially for remote employees. We've got 95% of our employees are remote, and it's even more important to have a connection with them. It's even more important to have video. It's more important to have someone to tell you what to do next, help you with this. So that's basically the process. And then we'll start selling after probably 3 or 4 weeks, learning our processes, learning how to quote. We do role play every day, and we do training a few times a week. Sometimes it's little bitty things. Like on Wednesdays, we'll do a What's Up with That Wednesday with one of our service manager, Katie. She'll explain just a small detail, like, hey, this is how DriveWise is changing. This is how claims are changing a little bit of this, or this is the process. I noticed we have a couple errors here. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. It's 5-10 minutes, these little tiny things, but with this many people, there's so many topics you can train on, and people can forget stuff. So it's little reminders every day. Hey guys, it's very positive and it's very encouraging. And we have the circle of trust. Who's doing it the wrong way? It's okay.
Wow.
Are you doing it wrong? I don't know.
Wow.
I ask questions and they're like, I put my foot in my mouth today with being vulnerable. Literally, I saw on Slack somewhere that like a bonus that was going on, and I literally delegated our team bonuses to the managers. I was like, guys, coming up with a bonus each month is time consuming. Here's our budget. Can you please do it? Make sure it's something that gears us towards where we want to go. And so I was on Slack. I was, a squirrel for yesterday a while. I was like, oh, they're doing this bonus on adding a third line, like home auto and then a third line. If you add a third line, you get $50. And I was like, I would love it if we could talk more about that at these Hello Huddles we do every day. Just to remind people the bonus, that they're happening, how much they are, who's winning. And so I was like, hey guys, tell me more about this third line bonus. And I'd love to hear more about it. Cass, how are we doing? They're like, that was last month. I was like, wow. Oh my gosh.
But that's the beauty of your leadership, that they get it, they got it, they put it in place. So you said something, you're saying a lot of things. First, I want to correct my introduction. I mispronounced your last name. When I heard you say Bucher, I said, Kevin, you butchered his last name. It's not Butcher, it's Bucher. So there's a K, there's a correction.
Don't worry. We've been married 9 years. My wife still doesn't say it right.
I feel good about that. You said something so powerful. You tied your social media presence and your Google reviews to people wanting to work in your agency? I've had that experience, but for agents listening to this podcast that haven't, talk about what people are going to see if they don't talk to you, but they see you online, they see your agency online. How
Mhm.
does that tie into letting them know that this is an attractive and great place to work?
That's a great question. How I how we entice people to potentially work for us is using the social media, the internet, the world. Because I'll tell you what, right now, candidates out there are doing more research than ever and having more opportunity than ever to find any type of place they want to work. So just like when you buy something off of Amazon, you're not just picking the first thing that comes up. You're looking at, how are the reviews? How many reviews are there? Is it just 5 star from 3 reviews, or is it 4.7 stars from 5,000 reviews?
Mhm.
The same thing when people are looking for places to work. Like, how many Google reviews does this place have? Are they on YouTube? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Facebook and Instagram? And to be honest, a few years ago, we weren't hardly on any of those. We started working with Search Perfect a few years back, who helped us with a lot of these posts to get us our SEO up and be more present. But we're going a step further now. We're doing an audit with a local digital marketing firm that's finding out the ROI and all of these things. And honestly, I did it yesterday where I gave them access to some things. We're not really a part of half the things that I don't know what I don't know. Like they said, give us access to your YouTube studio. I don't have a YouTube studio. Give us access to your Facebook or your Google Google ads we have, but like the Google ad metro analytics or something. I was like,
Yes.
we don't have any of this. I don't
Yes.
even know if I have a good business LinkedIn page. So there's things like, holy crap, it's not just Google reviews. Uh, there's many other ways that people are looking. So I want to find the results from that. I also want to grow close to another fantastic agent who's Nick Saka out of Vegas.
Incredible.
He's
Incredible.
incredible, incredible. I just saw him speak at the C8 conference. That's part of wanting to know and learn more, is finding out what these people are doing. But having it so if candidates out there, they can see video, they can see reviews, they can see other people talking about the business. Something I took from Jeremy Olson a while back is on these little videos for candidates. I have like a 60-second video that says, "Hi, I'm Ben. Thank you so much for applying for us. Here's the next step. Here's what we do. Here's our core values." The next one has a video of me and our operations manager together talking about the next steps. So, especially with people in their 20s and 30s and even 40s, like having video with subtitles on it is going to be viewed and somewhat connect better than just a regular email or a text. And it's been great because they get to see who we are, they get to see some face to face, they know what they're getting into, they know the next steps, they know our core values, which is all a way for us to communicate and stand out different from every other agency out there who's doing if agents are doing this, please stop. They apply and they get an assessment 5 seconds later. How many assessments are going to be filled out if every single candidate gets an assessment? No, you have to have some buy-in here. Like, we do a phone call, a pre-screen. Let me see if they're a good fit for us, if we're a good fit for them, before we force someone in to take an assessment. Because I'm not sure if you've looked for a job in the last 10 years. Every company here, you need to do this assessment. You need to look at the resume pile. It's all automated. It's very impersonal. So if we can stand up anyway by still having an assessment, but having some buy-in, some true, like, hey, you're moving up. You're moving up the level of hiring. The next step is the assessment. The next step is a video interview. The next step is meeting with this assistant manager, this manager. And I think it's been helpful. So I don't know how I got there, but like all of
But
that.
no, you I'm looking for that video from you. I'm applying for a job. Your next step, it's so clear how much clarity there is for in your agency, people looking for an opportunity to work in your agency, transparency about what you don't know. And Ben, let's be honest, it's a constant learning and it never ever stops. There's no such places there where we're going to arrive and it will all be okay, but there'll be enough to get us through today. I have a 20-year-old, that's my youngest son. You have younger children. But to your point about today's job applicants, my son blatantly told me, Dad, my generation, if we don't see it live, if we don't see it in video, we don't believe you. And I'm like, what? He says, we don't believe you. So all of your steps lends itself to believability, and the fact that they can look past to the next video is everything. So Ben, we're coming in close to landing the plane, but I'd be a poor host if I didn't ask you about your beautiful family, more specifically, I saw you doing some shoulder dancing. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your family first and then some shoulder shrugs with the kids on top.
Oh, absolutely. They are my world, starting with my wonderful wife, Callie. Literally, everything I do in life is to first for God, then for Callie, and then for the kids, and then for the company. Literally, Callie is my world. We met on Match.com about 10 years ago, and everything I do is for her and then for our children. A lot of people do get into business to drive nice cars, to make a lot of money, to go on fun trips. My number one is spending quality time. It's like the five love languages. I'm a quality time guy. I don't need a nice car. I don't need a nice house. I don't need, I mean, I would like to make a lot of money, but the point is, what am I doing with that money? I'm spending time with the kids. We have them in swimming, gymnastics, baseball. With my wife, I try to come home every day between 4 and 5. Like, I know I used to work till 8 or 9 o'clock, but quality time is more important to me than getting another project done. Um, my wife doesn't work in insurance. She works for Parkview Health here in Fort Wayne, and she is definitely my rock. She is a strong woman. I'll give you a story. So I was really frustrated about 2 years into the business, to a point where a former agent told me that I was so dangerous to the lowest ECP commission tier, where you would really fall off. And there was a time when you didn't have VC. You basically you should probably sell your agency. You should
Right.
probably just be done
Yeah.
with it. Take your losses. I was probably down 50,000 of the 100 grand that Allstate made me get together in the bundle. And I came home crying to my wife, and I was like, "Oh, I can't believe this," because I hadn't not given myself a paycheck. Probably didn't for the first 2 years, probably 2.5, 3 years before I paid
Yeah.
myself 20 grand in that third year.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm living off her salary, and and she didn't. She was like, girl, she's like, boy, go do it. Go get, go do this thing. So I came home crying this day, and she's like, okay, listen, is what you're worried about happening? Did it actually happen yet? I said, no, but it might. And she's like, listen, everything's going to be fine. Do what you've been doing, and if what you're worried about happening happens, then we'll take it from there. And I was like, oh my gosh, how much confidence does this woman have? How much strength does she have? And just, when I met her, I was literally managing at McDonald's,
Yes.
and so she was like, I don't care where you work, what you do. Do you care about me? Do you care about our family? And she has pulled us from that area of like doubt and anxiety to a point where it's, I would say we're pretty successful now. We've asked a lot of people for help, but she's been great, and the kids are wonderful. What do I do to wind down? Swimming, ninjas, and gymnastic, and those are all kids' activities where we take them to.
Well,
I, I,
man,
I, I will tell
go
you
ahead.
one thing we do. I will tell you one thing we do to wind down when we're home is each day, me and my wife ask each other, "What are 3 things you did today?" And then also follow up, "How do you feel about it?" Because if you have kids, small kids especially, you don't want to talk. You don't want to be social sometimes. But to say things you did and how you actually felt about them is a way to touch base and communicate, because it's very easy to look at your phone or watch TV and be distracted, but to wind down in a way that's you're still communicating with your family and learning about each other is one way to be like, hey, we got it. We actually got it from the author Chapman from the Five Love Languages. He came and
Yes.
spoke at our church, and I was like, oh my God, I'm stealing that. And
Wow.
it's fun. And sometimes it's like I went to this and it was great, or I went to this and it was like, oh my God, I got some tea to spill today, girl. Like we
Yeah.
got we got we got some shit to talk about.
It's a conversation starter. You know where you're going. So you read my mind. You jumped my second to last question. You told me how you wind down. This is something. Last question I always ask all my guests. Second to last question is: there's somebody listening to this podcast, Indiana, somewhere in the country. They're managing McDonald's right now. They're on a journey. Maybe they're meeting somebody on Match.com. They're looking for their next step. Maybe this is an opportunity for them, maybe it's not. Can you give them some encouraging words just about the pursuit of their dreams, whatever their dreams might be?
Oh yeah, absolutely. What I would say to somebody who is potentially going into a different industry or opening a business or taking a new job is do a little bit of research. Ask other people who have already done that, what they did and mistakes they made. Doing it, through SCORE or through other people in different Facebook groups. If I do some research, and if you're really passionate about it, pull the trigger, because sometimes you just got to jump off that cliff and build your parachute in the way down. I didn't know what the heck I was doing the first few years, you know what? And I knew I had some resources to help me anywhere along the way. And the first 4 weeks, I didn't even have any sales because, well, I had some decent sales. My manager came in and says, 4 weeks in, you should have some sales. I was like, we've been selling. He's like, did you remit? I was like, what's that mean? What's remit? So so take the dive.
That
Make
means
sure.
turning the money into the company. It was stuck in the system.
Yes, it was stuck in the sun. The next email the next day came from corporate. New agent Ben Booker sold 40 items in one day. But besides the research, I'll take a quote from my former future father-in-law, the father of the woman I was engaged to a long time ago. I said, "What's the best piece of advice you ever had?" He is, "Always have a plan." I said, "Oh, it's so good. Have a plan towards this new direction, this new industry, this new job, this opening of business. Have a plan. And don't be afraid to deter from that plan to tweak it. Or if it fails, what's the worst contingency? What's your backup plan? Like, always have a plan, because worst case scenario, you have a backup plan or something to change about it. But don't be afraid to get resourceful. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Oh my gosh, so many agents are afraid to ask for help. And I'll give an example of a local agent who has been a good mentor of mine, but he's always done things his own way, and he's been very successful at it. He came to a conference recently, and I was excited to see him there because he's the guy that has a great process. At the end of it, he posted about it. He's like, "I'm so glad I did this conference. Pride is the enemy," and that's his way of saying, "I've been too proud of my processes, but expanding your mind to other processes and learning from other people is the key to success. Don't try to figure it out all on your own. I mean, ask for help. There's
Yeah.
People love sharing. I love sharing. I'm sure you love sharing. Oh, you want to find out about my process? Let me tell you all about it. Here's how it started. Here's where it's going. Here's where we struggled. There's a certain dopamine hit by helping someone learn something. So if people are afraid to ask for help, it's in their own head. Worst case scenario, you ask someone for help. They're like, "I can't. I'm busy. I'm too busy right now. Whatever." Great. At least you asked. But ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help.
I love it. Ben, usually when the podcast is over, I think of a couple of questions I should have asked. I got to be honest with you. I have 20 questions I should have asked. So talk to me in the comments, everyone that's watching this podcast. Closing question. I have 20, but I didn't ask. Take this moment to share before I close out.
You kind of cut out a little bit. What was the question?
Take this moment to share anything that's on your mind, anything you're working on in the agency, out of the agency that you're
Yes,
doing right now that you would like to share.
absolutely. So next month, I'll actually see you at the Midwest Agent Forum in Chicago. And one thing we're working on is we're gonna be presenting. We are presenting on life and retirement in our processes. So I know that and we have a good process with an EFS in Oklahoma, Jason Hughes, and he has been integral in helping this process, but so has our assistant manager, Cass. And I was like, I would love to speak on this. I know there's lots of pain points with agents selling life and retirement outside of their personal lines. What are the pain points? And actually, who would probably
Talking
be
about
better to talk about this than me? Cass. So I said, "Cass, do you want to come meet me and talk about this?" She's like, "Yes." I've never met Cass in person. She lives in Boise, Idaho. I was like, "Do you want to come meet in Chicago?" And she goes, "Absolutely, let's do this." So it's her first time speaking. I've spoken a few times, but I'm so pumped about that. I'm tweaking it. I'm asking everyone for help. We even hired a speech coach, presentation coach. Say, "Hey, can you meet with us a few times? Help us get the structure. Where's this go? Tell us about the storytelling element of this, because if you've ever gone to a conference and had someone read from a script, you fall asleep. If it's something about
No.
just here's our process, boring, 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 people are looking at their phones. What can we do and say to
Yes.
be impactful, entertaining, and something with like an action item that people can take it back in place in their agency? That is what I'm jazzed about right now, and especially having someone on stage with me that's been a fantastic asset to our company with me, and someone who's really knows more about this process than I do, because she's meeting with the FS every week, going through this, figuring out what we need to do. So that's what I'm jazzed about.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You didn't ask, but I'll volunteer some advice for your presentation. Be
Yes.
yourself because everybody else is taken, and you are completely awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely thank you for tuning in, watching our live stream today. If you haven't done so already, I know you love this content. So, go ahead and click on the like and subscribe button to below. Big shout out, big thanks to my sponsors, Carol Media and Canopy Connect. Please reach out to them for all things digital, all things social, and put your hands together. Put some nice comments in the comments below about my wonderful guest today, Mr. Ben Booker. Thank you, Ben. Amazing.
Thank you.